Ibra di testa, Tonali, gol! Sandro! Meritato! Sandro!
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the SempreMilan counselling session. I'm your host Ollie Fisher, joined once again by Anthony Torgrud.
What's up, guys and girls, whatever. That if that's any indication of how this episode's going to go or how the team's form is, yeah, you're in for a treat. Wearing the Win Like Milan shirt because we no longer win, and yeah, we got Madison with us as well.
Yeah, I'm not wearing anything Milan.
Okay,
And we got Lorenzo as well for the full
Lorenzo.
house.
Yeah. 2 Americans, 2 Brits. We're here to hopefully ease your pain today.
to what?
2 Brits, I heard there.
Well,
Wow,
On video, that's good.
that's how hurt
I'm so
Lorenzo
happy
is.
that
He
we have that
disowned his
on
Italian
recording.
side.
Because next time he says
yeah.
I'm Italian, I'm gonna
Come on,
pull this
guys.
clip and be like, "You're a Brit."
Yeah, okay. I'm British and Italian. I have.
There you go.
That's. I have said that from the start, but this is not about me. This is about Milan.
So
Come on.
no, British Italia. I don't know. What do you
Britalian.
call?
Britalian.
Well, yeah. Oh, Britalian. That's
Italian,
what you guys
that's
say.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
That does sound good. Yeah. I was going to say that we're all wearing black for some kind of funeral, except for
Maddie,
Maddie.
get some black on.
Madison's
But
walls
yeah.
are black. He's in
Yeah.
the void right now.
Yeah, aren't we all?
Suffering.
Aren't we all? Boys, this is going to be tough, right? This is going to be tough. I get the sense that we're all like coiled springs, ready to go and unleash on what we've seen over the last few days. And that would be right because we care as fans. And what we've seen is pretty much below the depths of anything that we've seen before in our time supporting Milan. And we'll come on to that. Just for all those who are listening, what we've decided to do this week, instead of recapping each game individually, as we normally do, because the Lazio and Sassuolo games were such a collective shit show, and because there are 9 goals to go through, 11, but 9 that we conceded, and a lot of the criticisms that we're going to level at the team are along similar themes, we've decided to just combine them into one big long rant / dissection / analysis / funeral procession, I suppose. So without further ado, let's go into it then. So we conceded 1 goal against Salernitana to begin the year. We conceded twice against Lecce. We went back to 1 against twice against Roma. Went back to once against Torino in the cup. Up to 2 against
Because he
Lecce.
did twice against Roma.
Yeah, twice against Roma.
He said
Once
that.
against
I
Torino.
thought you said once.
Twice against Lecce. 3 times against Inter. What was next?
4 against Lazio and
4
5
against
against
Lazio.
Sassuolo.
Yes, it was.
So the derby
We're gonna
next
get
week,
10.
we're conceding 6. There's a preview.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining, everyone.
He's not joking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. I mean, I said that we weren't going to split it up, but just starting with the Lazio game, I want to talk about how poor we've been in terms of setting the right kind of tone for matches recently. It took Lazio less than 5 minutes to cut us apart. What we'd seen in the games against Lecce is that conceding early can happen when you are completely disjointed and all over the place. We then saw the exact same thing against Inter, where we just overcommitted bodies and they cut through us like a hot knife through butter. Did we decide to shore things up against Lazio and make sure we stayed in the game for as long as possible and tried to recover some defensive solidity? Nope. Did we fuck? It was embarrassing to see that goal happen so quickly. Didn't even require that much creativity, just to pass from our right side into Sergei Milinkovic-Savic to make it 1-0. I can't even remember what the next goal was. It doesn't even matter, does it?
I don't think it matters.
No, it
I don't
doesn't.
think it matters. I actually don't. For the first time, the
There was
analysis.
one that made me really angry, and I can't even remember. Oh yeah, it was the third one that made me really angry. That long ball down the left-hand side where Tatarusanu stayed rooted to his line, but nobody decided to run along with Felipe Anderson, who then cut it back. And then this is it. It's like the collective, but it's coming from individual errors. So then you've got Kalulu swinging his boot at it with absolutely no awareness of Pedro coming behind him, concedes a penalty, it's 3-0. The fourth goal, really simple, passing to
Calabria
Luzal.
gave up the penalty. Oh, no, that was the one against Sassuolo.
That was in the
Yeah.
And that one was ridiculous as well. But
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean,
that Tata error, like this is the shit I've been talking about for a year and a half. This is just the worst example of it, and I'm glad people are finally acknowledging it. It seems like he's got very few defenders left, except for a certain someone that I saw on Twitter. I can't remember his name, but he was very gung ho. It's not Tata's fault. I'm like, yeah, it was, but yeah, he was like
looks like
on
a
the
goalie
penalty
in rec
spot.
soccer. For those of you
Exactly.
who play like pickup soccer, he just stands there.
Even that is a little generous, to be honest with you. Like, he was on the penalty spot, Tata was. The long ball comes over, and it's coming down like what would be where Calabria should have been, but he never is, so, it's open space. Now, it's much closer to Tata than it is Felipe Anderson. Any normal goalkeeper's like, all right, I'm halfway to the ball. Let me just run out and get it. It's in my box. I can just pick it up. No, this motherfucker backtracks to his line, sits down, ass out, like he's ready to.
Just simple awareness, because
Yeah.
he can see that Kier is the man who's on Felipe Anderson. So he knows he's going to get outpaced, but he can get to that ball first. Not only does Maignan get to that ball if his calves were still attached to his legs, but he gets there and he probably pings a first-time ball out to the wing.
Picks up, distributes it straight away, or something. Yeah.
That is now we've conceded 9 goals in the last 2 games, and it isn't possible for all of them to be Tatarushanu's fault. I think the defence are on trial basically at the moment, like it's been that bad. But that is a good example of where it helps to have your starting goalkeeper fit or to have a competent backup. That's a good example, as is the third. Is it even the third? I don't know. The Berardi header from a corner for Sassuolo.
That was the third one, because
and the Fratesi shot that goes in at the near post as well. That's a good example. So we can get him out of the way. Tatarusanu could have done better, and I would say at least 3 of those goals.
Probably more.
That's a third of them. Potentially more, yeah.
Yeah, the Berardi header blows my mind as well, because you look at the still frame image of it when the ball's coming towards Berardi. Not only is he double covered, but besides the 2 Milan players that are covering Berardi, there's 4 more Milan players right behind him in the box, completely unmarked by Sassuolo players. And then there's Tata. So it was 7 versus 1, and Berardi gets a header and shoots it straight above Tata's head. It was right at him.
There was a lot of goals that Tata should have saved yesterday. A lot. The first goal was just embarrassing because he just stood there, and we also had 4 defenders in the box that just let him run by.
Yeah, when was it that I was complimenting his tracking and diving? It wasn't there on Sassuolo. Everyone knows that ball is getting put across. Like, anyone who's ever played a game of FIFA knows that they're putting the ball in front of goal and just going to cross it over to the far side. And Tata just stayed rooted to his spot yet again.
Those goals are never mainly the keeper to blame, though. The defense cannot be allowing a ball to scan across.
And I agree with
the
that.
box like that.
But you gotta move, though. As a keeper, you gotta try.
Yeah,
the
showing
point
effort.
of a keeper is
Don't get
to
beat
bail
in your
the team
post.
out. Yeah. You gotta bail the team out. When the defense fails, you are the last line. You gotta make a move. You gotta do something. You gotta at least try to get the ball. If you try, I won't be as mad at you week after week. But
it might look better if he dived and missed it, basically, rather than allowed it to go.
This is the far post. I'm Tata. I'm watching the ball going, no. Is the second goalkeeper going to come help me? There isn't a second goalkeeper. It's just you, guy. You got to do something. And then the near post, it's right here and somehow sneaks between him. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
That was bad. The Fratesi one was bad because he was only going to beat him one way. And as a keeper, you can't get beat at your near post. The one that I picked out in the analysis for the Lazio game, the Milinkovic-Savic one, I don't know, maybe we can overlay a photo or if not, check the analysis because you'll see it on the website. Right at the moment where Milinkovic-Savic shoots, Tatarusanu is hugging his near post. Those of you who've ever watched ice hockey and when there's a player about to do a wraparound and the goalie literally hugs the post to make sure he does not get beaten short side. Tatarusanu is on his near post. He gets beaten at his near post by quite a weak shot. It's not like Milinkovic-Savic put his foot through it and laced it into the top corner. He passed it into the bottom corner. And Tatarusanu didn't get close to saving it. Yeah. The penalty, the Loriente penalty for Sassuolo, by the way, Loriente, hell of a player. He guessed right side. He didn't get within 5 yards of it. He guessed the right side.
I don't think he guessed. I think he waited for the ball to leave.
I mean,
he's like, the damage control is to at least go in the right direction, and then you just say he got beat. But I think he waited for the ball to go.
He saved it. And I was like, oh, did he actually save it? And then I was strongly let down.
I want to chime in and actually say we can't understate how bad Tatarusanu actually is. For me, I'm going to get on to, as I'm sure we will, about Pioli, and for me, that's where the buck ends. Well, like I said, we'll get onto it. But obviously, a goalkeeper, got to organise your defence. We've seen Kalulu be one of the best defenders in the league. We've seen Tomori be one of the best defenders in the league. We've seen our whole defence play well for a long time. I would say a long time. No? We've never seen Tatarusanu have more than one, maybe two. When I say good games, they're average to above average. He's not spectacular. You cannot convince me for 10 seconds, not even 1 second, that those players are bad defenders. You can't. They are bad because of so many other reasons, but you cannot tell me right now that they are the main problem. I do not believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, no, but there was also a lot of shots on target that should not have been on target.
Yeah, but psychologically, every single game these guys are going into it, they shouldn't be thinking, if someone slips inside and have a shot, it's probably going to go in. They should be knowing that guy's got the goal covered because that's what they do. Their job as defenders is to defend and to know that guy behind them is trusting them to do that. They don't have that. Tomori's probably thinking, and Kalu's probably thinking throughout the whole 90 minutes, which they should not be doing. Tatarushanu's not quite with it, and worrying about that. I'm not saying that that's good, and because of that they become crap. Yes, their level has dropped.
No, but that would make you think that they'd be trying harder to defend better.
No, because
I think they've defended a unit. Lorenzo, I'm 100% with you on this. Like, thank you for saying that. I think the team has dropped because of Tata's presence.
Massive. It's huge.
They do not have the confidence in him. When Sassuolo has 7 total shots in a game and scores 5, when Lazio has
7 shots on target.
Yes, 7 shots on target and we concede 5. When Lazio's very similar numbers, I was about to pull them up and then started to just ranted instead. But when it's consistently like he makes 1 save a game, 2 saves a game, why bother? When the defense is like, it doesn't matter if we score, or when the offense says it doesn't matter we score 2 goals. If we take 1 shot, we're conceding. Eventually, it just hurts.
This has only happened the past 4 games, 5 games.
It's cumulative. It's cumulative because you see Tomori freaking out every single game. Every single game, he's like,
at him in the Sassuolo game.
Everyone's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Everyone's yelling at him. They're losing that morale. They're losing that bond as a team. It's creating friction in the locker room that he even exists. Like,
yeah,
I blame Tata for everything.
Number one,
it's actually Pioli's fault. We'll get onto it in a minute. But yeah,
Tata, and I'm Pioli out too. Don't worry.
Number one is we signed Davis Vasquez, right? Why? Why did we sign him? Yeah.
Why did we sign anyone?
So he's he's not good enough. He's not ready, or he's not good enough to be our backup goalkeeper at the moment. So
what does that mean, Ollie?
He wasn't signed for the future because he's 24 years old. It's not like we've signed a 19-year-old kid who might have it in 2 or 3 years. This guy's 24, and he was signed from a club where he was the backup in the Paraguayan First Division. So that's a new one for us. I don't understand what's happened there, but it seems to me like a waste of negotiating time. I really don't.
Why is he not ready? Maybe I'm being stupid. But what does that mean? I don't understand when people.
He's not ready to put his hand towards shots that are going on his goal. Goalkeepers don't need to be.
My thing is
save or not.
You're saying he's not ready because you think he's a worse keeper. We conceded 9 in 2 games. Oh, we conceded 9 all of
9 in 2 games. How many did we concede in the last 3 games?
13. 12, 13. Then you look at January to May of 2022, we conceded 9 total. So how can anyone be not ready to do better than conceding 13 in 3 games?
We've conceded 18 goals in 7 competitive games this season. We've not kept a clean sheet for a long time now. The Cremonese game away, which wasn't even a win, that was the last clean sheet that we kept. To say that the main problem for this is the goalkeeper is absolute piss. It's total nonsense. If you concede 18 goals in 7 games, it extends beyond the goalkeeper. We conceded 5 goals from 7 shots on target yesterday. Not ideal. How did we concede 7 shots on target? That's where the problem starts. If you allow that many shots on target, you are going to concede multiple goals. Giroud said it himself. He didn't point the blame at anyone in particular, but he said, we're not as compact as we used to be. We don't have the unity. If we're conceding 3, 4, 5 goals a game, we're not going to be able to win. Because if we concede from the first attack that happens, then we're going to be chasing the game and that opens up even more space. We're just naive. The whole defensive unit don't know what they're fucking doing. And I'm going to have my rant at Pioli when we come on to him. But I think Tatarusanu has a decent portion of the blame. To say he has more than 50% of it for what's happened this year is ludicrous. Ludicrous. We are watching Calabria get skinned by Zaccagni every time he goes forward. We're watching Kalulu step 20 yards out of the defensive line and get rinsed for pace, which exposes us to an odd man rush at the other end. We're watching Fikayo Tomori fail to get a hold of Lautaro Martinez. He runs through on goal. What the fuck can Tata do about that? We're watching the midfield run about like headless chickens. Tonali can't track a runner. Teo Hernandez is giving the ball away to Berardi for their 5th goal. Like, this is a calamity. And
it is a calamity.
I feel sorry for Tatarusanu in a way because he's obviously going to get stick, isn't he? Because he's letting in so many goals. But it is not primarily his fault.
I'm not saying it is. It's primarily Pioli's fault, as we'll get on to. But I refuse that because these players have all played at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's not a quality issue.
The drop off for me isn't like suddenly tomorrow it doesn't have track players anymore.
But that's it. That is literally it. He's not
conceded those shots that
we would
have saved all 5.
First of all, you'd save at least half.
No,
all 5. No,
conceded those
not
shots,
all 5.
You wouldn't.
He definitely gets the Berardi header. He saves the Fertesi near post. Yeah. I think he'd at least dive and track the ball on the first one. He might even remember. Mike doesn't stay rooted to his line. He would be out. He probably would have intercepted that first one in the cross.
He's also a leader, and he organises his back line 90 minutes in the game. You see how much he shouts.
But it's hard to be a leader when one of your defenders is yelling at you the entire game.
But why are they yelling at you?
Because he's shit.
Because you're doing nothing right. Because you're doing nothing right. Yeah. So how is a defender?
That goes back to the unity thing.
Right.
It goes back to the unity thing.
What has caused this rift in the unity?
Between the goalkeeper and the defense.
And that's the issue. So take out the goalkeeper, the guy who's making the mistakes, and the defense isn't going to start making mistakes because the defense is making mistakes because they know that it doesn't matter anymore. Because if they get beat even once, it's game over. So why bother trying?
If Tatarusanu like the golden child of the family.
If I'm Tatarusanu and Teo
they were last year. They were the best defense in Europe.
Oh, no, yeah. Last year we were in first. This year we're in 6th. So we're a different team.
We're 5th. Okay.
The first half of last season, we were not good defensively. Right. We weren't. Like, the numbers weren't even that far off what we're on this year.
And what happened in the first half of last season?
It was the second half of last season
what happened in the first half of last season? Tatarusanu played.
He played for about 5-6 games.
And
no, it was more than that.
Concede 5 goals.
Yeah, because the defense was better than that. At that point, it was like, okay.
I don't think the majority of the same players.
I don't think that.
It's a cumulative thing. It takes time to.
Has a lot of
it snowballs. Like,
but it's not his fault.
There's only so many games you could have that.
If I'm Tatarusanu, right, and I get shouted at by Teo or by Tomori, I'd turn around to him and say, "Do you fancy fucking tracking a runner for once?" Like,
but he has no right to say that.
But he has
no. Of course he does, because the defense are there to protect the goal. The defense and the midfield are there to stop the shots coming in the first place, and they are failing to do that.
But you know what, Ollie? If Tata said that, I bet it'd make a difference. Because right now he's just he should, because right now he's a pussy. He's cowering in his little goal. He's hiding between his posts. He's not doing anything. He's taking his whipping. Like,
he's the one who's. He's the one who's not putting his balls on.
Should we just descend into a hot takes episode?
I mean, we are. We're 20 minutes into one right now.
Abate should probably get the reins for the rest of the season. No, it's not
so
good.
He said that last week. I
think
give it to him.
I think what we're basically agreeing on here is that we can't isolate blame. It goes around. There is a lot of blame to go around here, and it extends above the playing staff, in my opinion, which we will come on to, of course. But I think
the main issue is still the medical record.
Yeah. It's like fucking whack-a-mole with us, isn't it? Like we get a couple of players back and then off some more go. The thing that I don't really know how to explain this. I think the thing from the last two games and also the Inter game that has frustrated me the most is that it's been obvious what our problems are, and that is that other teams are exploiting us on the counter-attack and are exploiting the space between the lines. Sassuolo's manager, Dionisi, was asked after the game yesterday, what did you do to beat Milan? And his answer was actually pretty simple. We said, we'll wait for our moments on the counter-attack and we'll park players between the lines. I thought, all right, that's a bit, give yourself a bit more credit. That is literally all he had to do. Now I guess we come on to Pioli. You can say what you want. I tweeted this, so I'm just going to say it word for word pretty much. You can speculate all you want about whether he has or has not lost the dressing room, whether players are following his instructions, whether they believe in his tactical approach. What is very, very clear and obvious to us all now, and has been for some time, given when our last clean sheet was, given how many goals we've conceded recently, it is beyond all reasonable doubt that Pioli can no longer organise this team defensively when we don't have the ball. That is inarguable at this stage, and I don't think it gets any better in the next game against Inter. And I think that we keep looking ahead to this Champions League game against Spurs. Kane and Son are going to have a fucking field day against that absolute joke, whatever it is. I did a piece for the site just before the World Cup break about why I thought some of the defensive issues were happening. First of all, I think in like the first 20 competitive games of the season, we fielded like 15 different back fours. And whenever we'd kept a clean sheet, we've kept 4 clean sheets in the league this season. Every single time we've kept a clean sheet, we've changed the back four for the next game. As you do, there's no continuity. I think that I don't know if Pioli has tried to gung-ho his way out of this current rut that we're in, but we also can't score goals. I know we scored twice against Sassuolo, but they were basically consolation goals. We can't score at the other end either, so that's not working. And he doesn't seem to want to add an extra midfielder in to make us a bit harder to beat, although apparently he might be doing that for the derby.
Because he's got no choice and his job's on the line. It's stupid fuck. That's why.
Sorry, you go for it now, mate. You can rant. I've had my bit.
What I want to actually implore everyone who's listening to this podcast. I know you guys have listened to it and watched it, but I would like all of you after this to watch the post commentary reaction of what Pioli says after the Sassuolo game. Please spend 5 minutes. Listen to Giroud as well. What he says is very interesting, but what Pioli says.
Or read it, because it's probably in Italian. I don't know if you can read Italian. So.
No. I think they translate it on the. Yeah. There's 2. There's an English one, but it's not hard to find the English translation one if you need it. And he said a phrase which we all have probably seen, which is our Scudetto is getting top 4. Okay. I think everyone's like, okay, fine. We know we need to finish top 4. That's fine. We're not diminishing that. But this is also a man that wants us to win the league until it was not possible for us to win the league. And it's also a man that will not make any changes that put the balls on the line until seemingly looks like his balls are literally on the line, which they should be. Okay? They absolutely should be. You cannot use the words, our Scudetto is finishing top 4.
After we've won the Scudetto.
After we've won the Scudetto. That is manipulative, and I hate that language. This guy, look, he's not wrong, right? He's not wrong in what he's saying, but I just don't understand why you would say that.
He would not have. I honestly think it was borderline provocative.
It's provocative, and he's also admitting defeat. I would much rather him saying we're going to fight to the end of this. But he almost deluded about it. I don't care.
Or just choose a word than Scudetto more carefully. Our number one target is absolutely fine. We can all get behind that. We can all accept the situation we're in. We're not blinkered. I mean, I think fans would rather not hear deluded stuff now. But I just think that Pioli and Maldini spent sort of the entire summer in their various interviews saying that we deserved to win the Scudetto because of our heart, because of our fight. We overcame the odds. And to now be saying, you know, top 4 is our objective, while it may be correct, is basically telling us as fans to accept a strong regression from where we were last season.
Massive.
And in what football club, especially a football club with our history and our honour, what football club is it expected for fans to accept regression?
Not only that, it wasn't the original
that the
objective.
fans are expected to accept it, but the directors are also accepting it.
Yeah. As the management, you have to have some ambition.
This offseason, including Pobega back on loan. All right, Pobega is the only one that is regularly seen. If I was Maldini, I would be like, why do we have these players? Why did I bring you in these players for you to not use?
Do you know what Pioli would turn around and say? Because they're all shit, which they are.
No.
That's the bottom line.
They don't get to play. How can you say that they're shit?
Yeah. He sees them in training every day.
You're telling me that CDK would do worse on the wing than Macias and Salamakers?
Also, every time Xiao's played, we've had either he's prevented a goal that would have lost us the game or tied the game or whatever that one was, and then we had a clean sheet his second game.
I agree.
We just haven't seen him again.
Xiao should be playing more. He actually played. He came off the bench in that Hellas game, and then he started the next game, and he did okay. No. He made one error. I can't remember what it was, but then like you've got people clamoring to see Franks in. I understand that. I would like to see more of him too. His last action was to cost us the game against Roma.
So the reason people want Vronks is because the only other option was Pobega. But at this point now we have Krunic back, and I don't think people are asking to see Vronks. I think Krunic is definitely the right guy as the third.
I agree.
No, I don't think he's good enough to be a third. I mean, I think that's a regression we've made in the midfield. Like obviously we had Kessie in the rotation, and he was much better. But that's okay. You know you're not always going to improve your squad every single summer in every department, but you should be using the signings you're making, like Madison said. There's no reason to bring in all these players and then bin them off immediately. You look at CDK's playing time, and look, I'm with everyone when I say he has not done well. We see it. The confidence is gone. He's not playing like he did in the first few games where he could have been on 5 assists if people had better shots or if goals didn't get called back, yada, yada, whatever. But you look at his minutes and his games. The amount of appearances he's had is now at 18. The total minutes combined is less than 7 full games. So how can we make an accurate prediction on how he's doing when he's getting 15 minutes at the end of the game, or he's starting for the first half of a game with 6 other not starters in there? Like, you're putting him in with lineups that aren't good enough, that we acknowledge aren't starting. So why are we saying this is your one opportunity, but you got to do it with Pobega and Vronks behind you and Rebic on the wing? We're not going to give you our best player in Leao. Like,
why was Leao benched?
Because
he said that he said that it was due to his condition. I think he says that he's been playing too many minutes, but I don't understand, because this is another thing where he's trying to pull the wool with us, because everybody rightly then pointed the finger at Giroud and said he's been starting every game for fucking months and you won't give him a rest. I'd prefer to see Rebic up front and Leao still start. Give us a bit of fluidity. I mean, I thought that was a very obvious choice. I'd have even rather seen Brahim and CDK up front.
I could be wrong on this, but isn't Leao a yellow away from suspension? So maybe he was just saving it for the derby.
Potentially, but you still give him 45 minutes.
And you could say that, and no one would be mad at you if you just said, "Oh, we don't want a suspension for the derby." Like,
also, CDK yesterday, it was his first start in the league for 4 months.
Yeah,
4 months.
He didn't play that bad.
No, he was one of the better players in the first half. Yeah,
and now he's gonna be like, "This is on me."
Yeah, I just remember. I just think back to that moment where De Ketelaere snatched at that chance at the far post that he should have buried, in fairness. I can't remember the game that it was, but I know that we won 2-1. It may have been the Specs. I can't remember what it was, but he was dejected and he refused to celebrate even though we won the game, he didn't celebrate under the curva with the rest of the team. He just went straight off. That, to me, suggests at 21, we were all a bit emotionally all over the place, weren't we? You know, we weren't emotionally mature. Some of us still aren't, Maddie. But he went off, and that, to me...
God damn it.
That to me suggested that he's quite not volatile, but like you've got to look after him a little bit.
He's a kid.
They need nurturing a little bit, and to handle him the way that he has since then is baffling. Like he's baffling. I think Pioli can have his grumbles about the summer window that we got, and I do think we have got weaker in a couple of departments. However, he's not helping himself either with the way that he's managing these players, and that's extended beyond CDK, because I know we talk about this so often, but he gave Daniel Maldini his Milan debut in the last minute against Verona when we had a corner. He gave Marko Lazetic his first appearance when the game was gone. He gave him his first start in a really, really tough game as well. I
have a reason. I think for me, I think this man, and the reason why I'm going so hard in Pioli is because I'm sorry, we're at the point now where the buck ends with the manager. I don't care that the players aren't playing well. What are you going to do? Sell them all? No, you can't do that. They're our assets of the club. The manager's the replaceable part. Look around Europe. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Stop being so loyal about it. That man's got an arrogance about him that I do not like. I don't like he's won one trophy. The language he uses in press releases, the way he answers questions. You know when he did that one against the Atalanta game? Where he just replied with, certo, of course. Was it that presser?
That was prior to the Lazio game.
Yeah. Lazio game.
Yeah, Franco Ardigne, who has written some, we kind of mentioned this last week, but he's written some pretty, in my opinion, honest and solid columns about the current situation that we're in. And that, to me, the way that he replied in such a frosty and hostile tone made it obvious to me that he reads what's said about him. And that is paranoia.
He's paranoid. I'm sorry, he's becoming arrogant for a manager that has not won enough. He's got too much credit with the Milan management that I don't understand. It's almost, for me, I interpret it as almost we're so grateful that he's given us the Scudetto. We should be aiming for that every single season. And let's not forget, he would not have that Scudetto if it wasn't for a 41-year-old striker on the bench shouting with him. I'm sorry, that is a fact. That's a fact.
Go back to whatever podcast episode came out right after Halloween. Go look at the chat on Halloween Day and go read how I said we should not have renewed him. This is too soon. It's going to bite us in the ass. And I got yelled at by everyone. Well, you're not laughing now.
I agree. I don't think so. He's a prick. I actually hate him. right now.
Wow.
I mean, I don't hate him, and I'm very grateful for the Scudetto. I truly am.
I'm so angry.
My problem is when one player is out of form, you have a bench to replace them for a game or two. But he was not replacing them, and then it just slowly spread to the entire team, and he's still not replacing.
I just want to bring up two things that are interesting. Number one is, and before we go, all four of us saying Pioli needs to go immediately, I just want to highlight the precedent with him. In the 2014-15 season, he massively overperformed with Lazio. He got them into third. Behind Juventus and Roma. They were 1 point behind Roma, so very close to second place, with a Lazio team that was bang average when you look at it on paper. That got them into the Champions League qualifying round. They lost to, I want to say it was Man United in the Champions League qualification round. The next season, they lost half of their first 14 games. They went as low as 12th. He got sacked partway through that season. If you look at inter-season in the I'm going to have to quickly Google this. Was it 2017-18?
Yeah, I think it was 17-18.
Oh, no, that was under Spalletti. It was
16-17.
16, yeah, the 2016-17 season. Pioli came in on the 8th of November after Frank de Boer had that horrendous start. He took them on an absolute charge. I can't add it up, but they won a lot of games. They had a streak where they won 7 in a row. They won 9 out of 10 in the league. They won 13 out of 15 in the league, including a 7-1 against Atalanta. They beat Lazio 3-0. They were scoring loads of goals, keeping them out. He then went on a run where he lost 6 of 8, and he didn't end up lasting until the end of that season. So basically, Pioli has form for coming into environments that are a little bit delicate, for getting this collective unity going, for getting the team absolutely firing for a season or longer or a little bit shorter. He also has form for it all falling apart.
He's done exactly what we said was going to happen when he came in. The only exception that is a Scudetto. Nobody predicted a Scudetto.
And that's inflated everything. And
We've all, time. And I agree. We all called him during his appointment the great stabilizer because all he's done is stabilize clubs that were in free fall, and we were under Giampaolo. We had 0 wins we had 3 wins in his first 6 games or first 7 games, and then was out the door and he conceded, I can't remember, 8, 9, 12 goals, something like that. Pioli's now winless in 6, and has conceded far more than Giampaolo did. So
as well. It's not even the winless. We are so bad.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I don't hate him. I was just enraged, right? I don't hate the guy. I was just very enraged at the moment. He's just really it's so evident he's lost in every facet. And I'm annoyed because I think all of us would agree we are not going to react in time.
He was never meant to be the long-term manager. We knew that when he was appointed. We knew that when at the end of that season we were going for Ralf Rangnick, and I'm glad we didn't. We obviously won the Scudetto, it worked out. But this is where the time has come, and people got mad at me for saying, "Look, the renewal was not the right move," and everyone said, "Well, we just won the Scudetto. Of course you renew him." And I get that, but that's where the loyalty becomes too much, because we know his limitations as a manager. We've seen it over the years of his career. It's not like this was his first time managing. As always said, he's done it at multiple other clubs where he's just gotten them right back in it. And then he collapses and everyone's improved after moving on. Who did Lazio get after that? Simone Inzaghi. Who did Inter get? Spalletti, and then Conte, and then Inzaghi, obviously. It's
the thing is gotta go. And I know what Lorenzo's saying about how the club might not act in time. The current line that's coming from the club, and Sky have confirmed this, is that Pioli's position is not at risk, and they have full faith in him turning it around. They're not going to say any different, though, are they? His job isn't at risk until it is, until he's sacked, essentially.
Exactly.
They're making the plan B without telling him. That's all I'm saying. They're serious about it. I'm not saying that we should sack him. I don't even think we should sack him right now. I'm just saying, let's say, do the best we can until summer. And if it's not better, then he needs to go. But I don't know if that will happen.
It's got to be before summer. The derby's got to be his last
Champions League, Leao's gone.
Cool.
Probably gone as well.
Teo loves the city and he loves the team. But, that man deserves to be in Champions League. Tonali's in a bad bit of form.
He won't leave.
He's not.
He won't leave. Yeah,
he bleeds for this team.
I think the derby coming up on Sunday, as AJ just kind of mentioned there, with everything that's come before, the 6-game winless run, the fact we've conceded 18 goals this year and stuff, the derby is to me it's a big bang moment. We're either going to respond or we're not, and both of those are sort of edge of the cliff things. Either we see what we want. This is how mad it is. If we win, we'll go back second. We'll go above Inter. That's how volatile things are. It seems so unlikely at the moment, but that's how on the knife edge we are. If we lose, I don't see how he stays. I really don't. I don't. I think that might be too much.
If it wasn't Inter this weekend, I bet he'd be gone already.
Yeah,
if it's 1-0 in the 90th minute, he's not going to get.
That's it. I said in the chat that I fear a regulation defeat, like a 2-0 or a 2-1, where we can come back after it. Everyone was saying we showed a bit more fight, but ultimately it still stings like hell, and we're not that much more confident that he can drag us out of this mess. I think it
can't be performance based. It's got to be result based at this point.
I agree.
We can't be dropping 3 more points again.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't see a result that isn't 3 points dropped here. I do think we're going to lose. I guess I don't preview at this point. But go ahead.
Can we quickly just tie up the Lazio and Sassuolo game? We're not going to do tops and flops for obvious reasons. I mean, there are too many flops to pick out for both of the 2 games. But in particular, wanted to highlight Tomori's been terrible this year, but he went off partway through the Lazio game. So even though we've given him a bit of stick here, he hasn't played for the majority of the last 2 games. Calabria, Kalulu, fucking disgrace. Sort it out. Seriously, sort it out. Your positioning is absolutely atrocious. Teo, don't know what the hell has happened since you came back from the World Cup. But he has these moments like he did in the first couple of seasons where he just completely zones out of what's going on around him. like surrendering the ball over to Berardi for their 5th goal. I think it was. I've lost count of them now. The midfield. I mean, I know Benacer was suspended for the Sassuolo game, but the midfield are just not streetwise anymore. Like they're just not going with their men. To the amount of Tonali long balls that went into the fucking stands yesterday, like the basics are not being done right. And as for the forwards, I mean, we
have those.
Yeah, what's the point when we're not going to win games by scoring 6, are we? I just wanted to give everyone one.
No, but we could have had 4 goals yesterday. Those 2 offside goals were very barely offsides.
But
and how mad is it that we still would have lost if they counted?
I know, but the thing is that like we're starting to get those chances again. The defense just needs to be on lock.
Yeah, it needs.
Don't really care.
Although we should mention that Origi's goal was fantastic.
Yeah,
maybe
phenomenal.
You could say that.
I didn't even see it. I switched the game off. Was it that good?
Say that it's worth like 19 goals on a bet.
Was it that good? Was it a banger like his first?
Say that.
Oh yeah.
It was a banger. Yeah,
you should definitely, dude. It was outside of the box, far down.
Yeah, it was really nice. Did we lose Lorenzo, or is he just in shock?
No, I think he's in shock that Origi did something athletic.
Yeah, it was a fantastic goal, and honestly, that's earned him the start for me because Giroud hasn't done anything. Like, obviously, Giroud scored and had an offside goal or whatever, but we're just going to get
Giroud
silly.
Had a good World Cup, so he's like, my career's done.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was rumors that there was actual reports after the game yesterday that Giroud was in tears. I'm not really sure how I feel about players crying after losing. This isn't like a toxic masculinity thing, but like when we're all questioning the mental strength of the players, I don't really want to see them crying after they've lost. I'd rather they go and face the fucking music and, but I might catch flack for that, but I think it shows further weakness.
I don't have an issue with it.
I prefer emotion.
Yeah.
We didn't lose the final.
No, but they know the situation they're in, and they know that they're the only ones who could fix it, and they haven't. So it just, to me, it says like at least it.
I can tell you one thing.
Okay.
That's what Shani won't. He ain't crying after a game after conceding 15. He didn't give a shit. That guy doesn't care. He
just washes his luscious hair and then.
Oh, I hate that guy so much.
He better not start against Inter.
Oh, he will.
I don't put all the blame on him at all.
Will. He actually will.
I hope he does not start.
That Romanian statue.
The problem is you can't bring in a new manager for their first game against a derby. You can't give debuts, so Vasquez ain't playing. Like
play Moriente or whatever his name is.
Fernando Morientes.
Yeah,
Morientes from Real Madrid back in the day.
And that's the thing, dude. Like Moriente did awful, but I don't know if he was worse than Tata.
He was as bad. He isn't.
Tata just looks like he has no confidence.
He's 39.
At all.
They're both essentially scarecrows at this point. Yeah. He's 39. Yeah, it's on the management for not addressing the issue in the summer. Well,
they have apparently, but Pioli doesn't want to start him, and that annoys.
Last summer
we bought a backup goalie from the Paraguayan league.
He was
you honestly want him to start against Inter?
Maddie, I want you in goal, mate. That's how bad it is. I would love you.
I'll be worse than Tata. I'll be worse than Tata.
Put the Inter preview on, and we'll just try and. This game, I'll be honest, at this moment in time, and it's probably not going to improve in the build up to the game, it instantly feels like damage limitation, to be honest. Like, I know we're going to lose this. It's just by what margin? If it is a heavy margin, then I think it has repercussions on where we go, whatever that means. But I do fear a defeat in this. Inter didn't even really have to get out of first gear to beat us in the Super Cup, to be honest. That was a really naive performance from us. I think that Simone Inzaghi, this plays perfectly into his hands as well, because he knows that we need a statement performance, and he knows that we need to do something to show the fans that we've kind of got our shit together. And that's why I think he'll sit back again and look to hit us on the break. Inter have got players back, and they've not been in great form themselves. They lost at home to Empoli, and then they scraped past Cremonese at the weekend. But they're in better shape than us, and they've still got a better squad than us and stuff. Would you make changes to the formation? Would you make changes to the starting 11 for this game? For me, it's obvious to go to a 4-3-3 now. But we've been saying this for weeks, I think.
Oh, that's a legitimate question. Yeah. I mean, it's like, yeah, you make changes, but what are the changes? I agree, 4-3-3. For me, I'm switching it all up. Now, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think any of this is going to happen. But me personally, Vasquez in goal. I'm starting Kalulu at right back because Calabria is still hurt or something. He either mentally or physically, he's not there. I'm putting Chow and I guess Tamori at center back.
If he's fit, yeah.
If he's fit. It's got to be Teo left back, whether he's been in good form or not. Benacer Tonali, and probably Krunic to round out that 3-man midfield there. And then I'm putting CDK right wing. I'm putting Origi up top, and I'm putting Leao on the left wing.
You put Origi up top over Rebic?
Yes, just because he had that goal, and Rebic should have had 2 goals in the first half against Sassuolo, but he was just slightly missed.
Someone read the stat, or do I have to find it?
I'll get it. I'll get it about the passing. Passing.
Yeah,
he was like, yeah.
I felt bad for outing him for this on the data account, but here it is. It's
you've got it, yeah.
You got it. It's for players in Serie A that have played for over 60 minutes in a game this season. But basically, Rebic had a 35.7% pass completion rate, which is the lowest of any player in Serie A this season.
Okay, Rebic is the last spot on the bench. Right now.
That is so bad.
Oh, I'll tell you another thing.
How many classes did he complete? Do we know?
No,
how many classes he's completed? Because that's not even professional football standard. That is that bad.
Yeah. I'll read a couple more stats for you as well. These come from Opta. Milan conceded at least 4 goals in 2 Serie A matches in a row for the first time in their history. Milan conceded at least 5 goals in a Serie A home game for the first time since April 97 when we got beaten by Juventus 6-1. Many people consider that to be the worst defeat in the club's history. Milan have now lost 3 games in a row in all competitions for the first time since September 2019. What was that? That was the run that cost Marco Giampaolo his job. It was.
I hope Pioli's listening to this. I really hope he's sipping his espresso and listening to this.
It's not. And Milan have the worst defensive record of any team in Europe's top 5 leagues across all competitions. 18 goals let in this year. Thank God January's over. I mean, we struggled in January last year.
CDK had 86% pass accuracy.
What a goal for the Belgian.
I know. I like CDK. Leave my boy alone. He's so protecting him.
No, he needs to get his shit together. Like,
I just feel sorry for him.
I do protect him. I want the best for him, but yeah, he's got to do something at some point.
I mean, Everton have just appointed Sean Dyche, so that's another good manager off the table for us.
Imagine.
Good bit of Brexit football. We'll get some questions, I guess, about the manager thing, but on the Inter preview, is Brozovic meant to be back for this? I don't know. I think he might miss.
I think he's injured still.
Lukaku's not 100%, but they showed that they can beat us 3-0 with Çalhanoğlu as the deepest midfield player. So I no longer.
But also, Inter have not been playing great. Sorry for interrupting you, but like
they played okay against us.
Okay, they barely beat Empoli and they lost to. Or did they lose to Empoli and?
They lost to Empoli and they barely beat Cremonese at the weekend. I read something from Gazzetta and Gazzetta can be hit and miss with their team news, especially so far out from a game. But they're suggesting that he could bring Kier back into the starting 11 if Tamori isn't fit. If he does that, he should be sacked the minute after the lineup is announced. If you dare to play Kier against Inter again after what happened last time, it is a sackable offence. And I'm being deadly serious with that. Yeah. Because then it would become sabotage, in my opinion.
He's lost it. I promise you, his arrogance has become too much. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Kier should be number 5 in the centre-back pecking order at the moment. I don't hate the guy. This isn't some kind of personal vendetta. I know AJ has criticised him for stuff in the past, but he's had an immense contribution to. No, I'm just saying he's had a
vendetta against him either.
No. I'm just saying that like you might have called it before others in terms of that record. You know where we hadn't conceded and stuff, and you said it's bullshit. I think it was. But now we can see that he doesn't really have 2 functioning legs anymore. Like his injuries have caught up with him. He's 30. He's going to be 34 this year. That's quite an age for a defender, and he isn't going to be able to keep. We put him on Lautaro for some reason in the last derby when really it should have been the other way around. I don't know. He's not the man for this particular game. I love and respect his contribution and how much he cares about this club, but he should be number 5 in the pecking order now. Gabia and Chow should be above him because they are healthy men willing to contribute. So yeah, that's it. And I agree with AJ's lineup. Apart from that, honestly, 4-3-3. I think that he's going to start Salamakers because Salamakers has the derby experience and all.
You know what?
Shit.
I wouldn't even mind Salamakers at right back. That's what we signed him for originally.
Yeah. If he starts Calabria, then Salamakers has to start because Macias gives you no defensive cover. But we would be playing 3 midfielders.
Neither does Calabria.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
That was good.
But even the Gazette report said Calabria, even though he's the captain and stuff, he's at risk because he's been so bad recently. And I hope that is the case. I hope nobody's untouchable. Like Calabria, if he there are some people who have agendas against Calabria, ones that I don't agree with. They go too far and they're almost like personal towards a guy who really cares about the club. But his performances have not been up to scratch. And as a captain, you're meant to lead by example with your performances, if not by your actions. So Calabria should potentially drop himself at this stage until he gets his shit back together. Because I agree with AJ. I think he might be carrying something.
Yeah, they had a day off.
No, half the squad showed up. Anyway,
that's good.
So someone who's got the memo there, though, but I want to know who showed up and who didn't.
Yeah, who didn't show up? Probably Pioli.
Because they have a WhatsApp chat, so one of them must have said, right, we're going to go, and then the other's just like, nah, not us.
Origi won't. Origi don't care. Tata doesn't care. Giroud will be there.
I bet Giroud was there when he could have used the rest. You know, like it'll be the exact opposite to what we actually.
Yeah, but I like he cares though, and he might cry, and that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm curious too, and the fact that Pioli even gave him a day off blows my fucking mind. We should have been in Retiro a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
They got 2 days off after we lost the Super Cup.
I know, and he's like, "Oh, you need to sort your mental problem out, Pioli, not the players." Yeah.
But then, even when the players don't have a day off the day after a game, they only do light work anyway. So we don't play again until Sunday. So I think it would be normal for them, no matter how bad things have been. I don't think that you massively increase the intensity to then pick up more injury problems and shit.
No, I agree
it's
with
just
that.
symbolic,
though, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I know. It's how it looks as well. Like the optics of it. Who's there? Who cares? But anyway, into predictions. 3-0. We lose again. 3-0.
I think we score, but we lose.
I don't think we score. I think it's going to be 4-0.
Oh, no, don't.
State of us.
This is so bad. No, I think
you have no reason to believe that our defense or goalkeeper are going to do anything helpful.
Yeah, no, Matt's right. I'm torn between picking 6-0 or 1-6, but I'm going with 6 conceded.
I'll go 3-1.
Into some home
I think
game
we
as
score.
well.
We'll score and we'll pretend that that's really cool, and then they'll just come and then they'll just batter us a couple goals.
You remember when teams used to score early and then we'd bounce back? That was fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we used to win a game and have clean sheets as well? That was a really good time.
No, I don't.
Winning, yes. Clean sheets, I don't really remember what those are.
Yeah, that's true.
What happened, man? What happened?
Pioli,
I don't know.
I'm
I feel
lost
so
for patience with him. I want to slap his bald head so badly. I hope Zlatan does.
And for the record on Calabria, like I am a big Calabria hater, but I was caught defending him.
Don't say.
Yeah, well, I had to defend him a lot.
You
on
had
Twitter.
your guard up for him.
Yeah, I had to defend him on Twitter because some of the criticism was ridiculous. So they were saying he, after a loss, he went out and had dinner. Well, it was his fucking birthday. Like,
dog.
Yeah,
you can't
that day at work.
after
Not
you lose a
stopping
game.
me.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. I'm excusing that,
I don't
but
like personal.
the shit on the field is ridiculous. And mind you, if he was caught like at a nightclub or something, that's different. The dude was just having dinner. He posted a picture of him having a fucking cake with a candle in it.
What's he supposed to do? Just delay his birthday, or
your birthday doesn't change. Like it's gonna be there or not.
He probably didn't enjoy the day as much because they lost 5-0. Like, how do we know it didn't affect him? But it's like Instagram, innit? You only put up what you want people to see. You might have been crying for the rest of the day.
Yeah, and granted, like he could have just not posted the picture and done his birthday thing, and no one would have minded. Like it wasn't like it was a paparazzi shot that got him.
You shouldn't have to feel like that, though. You shouldn't have to feel that.
Personal attack is never right. Never right.
And if we're going to doubt the heart of anybody, it's not Calabria or Tonali or people who grew up as fans of the club. I think there are other players that you'd go after first. That won't stop some people on Twitter, though. Questions then, we'll pick 2 or 3 because they're on a similar theme. Rohit, a few others asking about this. Should Milan sack Pioli? Do you trust Redbird to bring a top coach to Milan? My current answer is no.
Yeah, I don't trust Redbird. My answer to sacking Pioli is why is it January 30th? It should have been January 1st. It should have been October 30th. Like, it should have been a while ago.
I don't know about AJ's comment.
October 30th, we sack him after we've beaten Juve 2-0.
No, we lost to Torino 1-0.
Was it that? Okay,
that was our first loss, and but it was a weirdly.
I think that if the derby goes south, they need to start making inquiries to who's available. But I do not trust Jerry with a G. First of all, who spells Jerry with a G?
Yeah, honestly.
Well, it's short for Gerald, isn't it? So
I don't know.
I didn't know that either, to be honest with you. I had no idea.
Is it?
Regardless, I would not trust him.
I would have thought because he's Italian, there's no J's in the Italian alphabet, so he uses the G to spell it. That's why.
Oh, just like you're Italian?
Well, I am. I'm born in the UK, but my family are Italian, so yeah, both.
Okay.
You can have dual
I think his family's from Italy too.
3 citizenships. You know that, Maddie, right?
What?
Just because you bleed Murica, all right?
Murica.
Okay.
Super Bowl.
Jerry will bring in like Zlatan to be caretaker manager and then try to make it permanent or some shit.
Zlatan as manager would be sick, to be honest.
On a serious note, what he's going to
not
try
in a top 4 battle.
Oh no! I mean, he doesn't even have his.
I want Tuchel. Why wouldn't we be in for Tuchel? He's a top manager. Why would we not?
Because he requires money.
He's making more in his severance from Chelsea than he'll get offered from us.
You honestly think that we're going to get a manager of that caliber?
No, I don't.
If we really
should, because we're meant to be a top club, but we're not acting like a top club.
Go
time out. I have a theory.
Yeah,
there's a picture. You know what I'm saying because I said it to you already. Yeah, there's a picture of Bowley with Jerry. What if they're working on an unprecedented manager loan deal because Tuchel's still under their wages? We just take him, and pay him some of that, and Chelsea pay the rest.
You have actually got to agree a severance with their former club, and if we did decide to go for Tuchel, and there's absolutely nothing to suggest that we are, but I think we've got a better chance than most of agreeing severance and agreeing something with Chelsea to let him come to us. Because
give us Tuchel, and you could have Leao.
However, we're paying our current head coach $3.5 million a year, and I believe he was on at least double that at Chelsea. So we'll see. That probably won't happen. Keviano asks, who's to blame for the poor results? Number 1, Redbird not willing to give us money to spend. 2, Maldini and Massara for the failed transfers. 3, Pioli unable to integrate new signings. 4, Milan lab still ruin us since its inception. And the answer is yes to all 4.
Yeah. The answer is
let's go back to kind of that first question and kind of alter it. Who are the available managers right now? Like, realistic or not? Just who is out there?
Frank Lampard.
You got Lampard? No, thank you.
No. Tuchel.
You got
that's the only one.
Tuchel. Thank you. Too expensive.
Who did Norwich sack? Dean Smith.
Pochettino's available. I think he'd be too expensive coming off of PSG money.
He's waiting for Spurs.
He's going to go back to Spurs.
Yeah.
Let's throw that in there then too. You got Antonio Conte, but
we're not paying him $10 million a season. We're not even paying a player.
Look,
and we're not signing any players he wants either. So
I'm going to stick my bollocks on the line here and say that my real bollocks on the line suggestion is Marcelo Gallardo, who just left River Plate, but he's someone that you need to look into to realise what he's achieved and the football that he plays and stuff.
Club as well.
He would be incredible. He was meant to be going somewhere in Spain, but that seems to have fallen apart now. He's a name to keep an eye on, I suppose. But the
Luis Enrique is another one.
Yeah, he was one that I was thinking about. My edgy take is that I wouldn't say no to 2 years of Conte. I really wouldn't.
No, of course not.
I think he'd win us something. And as long as you accept that he's also going to be a bit of an intermediary manager, but he's going to take you from 5th or 6th, wherever we finish this season, to being right back up there. And then, you perhaps... But I don't know, do we need a project manager like Poch? Because Poch took 3 or 4 years to build something serious at Spurs. Ultimately, he did. Like, he couldn't work stuff out with shit.
We're just in bad form. All right? we are a good team. We have the ability to win.
We have good players.
Like,
I don't think we're a good team anymore, actually.
I believe
like,
and that's why I agree with
we will win.
I agree with Madison, and I think the best way to take advantage of that is the new manager effect, because then you get everyone working overtime to impress them to keep that starting spot. A new manager comes in, and the starting 11 is no longer the starting 11. Now it's just who does he like the most. And granted, that first game's probably going to be the same 11 because he doesn't know anyone, but every young player who Pioli is not playing now has the opportunity to become a starter. They're going to work harder. You're not going to see fucking Tata Rushanu in net. You're going to see Davis Vasquez. You're going to see, hopefully, Mike Mignon if he ever returns. Like, you're going to see other people. You might even get Origi up top. You might get CDK on the right wing. Like, you're going to see some changing. Yeah, you might get Adley. I almost forgot he's on our team.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to see some changes, and I don't know. I think you get the best out of him.
Tuchel would do so good because the whole premise of our club is to.
I agree, Maddie.
Bring in young players and develop them, and that's what he does.
He also builds from the back, and what we need at the moment is the scaffolding or whatever the fuck we've got at the moment.
He's such a good manager. He's so underrated.
He has a tactical identity. We need somebody with an identity. If he goes, obviously, I don't think he's.
One of the complaints he had at Chelsea though was that he was requesting players and not getting any of the ones he requested. He was just getting a shit ton of players.
Yeah, but also he had Todd Bowley apparently telling like some players that this so-and-so is in a position, and Tuchel was like, what the hell, have you even watched a game of football in his life? And was like, I can't work with this ignorant American. That was also a lot to do with it as well.
Also, Todd Bowley, I think Todd Bowley made it kind of clear when he came in that he wanted to hire his own guy. Like, even though Tuchel had done fantastic things, he sensed that something was sour, and he thought, this is the first thing I can do to put my imprint on.
Tuchel's a well-educated, well-spoken German who's, again, well-educated. Todd Bowley isn't.
He's a Nazi.
I don't know. He's a very rich American businessman. I just think it doesn't work.
He's not coming now.
So, I do.
Potter!
Speaking of Potter, Tuchel's had a better record at Chelsea this season than Potter has this season.
Potter still absolutely outcoached Pioli over 2 games.
Right. Maldini to get him.
Well, that was the new manager effect. Everyone showed up.
Get him in. Get him from India because he's still bumming around India, isn't he, Tuchel? Becoming like a yogi or something. Tuchel was in India for like 6 months.
Oh, he became a consultant, didn't he? Yeah.
He was in India. Yeah, get him from India. Stop doing yoga. Come and manage Milan and sort yourself out.
He'll be ready to go to Milan after that.
Yeah.
Why would you leave a stress-free environment and come to? Yeah. I think it'd probably be Ranieri. AJ, this is a different AJ. This is Hassan Abu Shari asks, looking at Napoli into their current squad as a result of their directors doing an excellent job with transfers. I hate to say it, but Maldini and Massaro were just late in the summer to invest in the right players as a result of renewals being late too. Domino effect. The angle on renewals is interesting because we're seeing Milan Skriniar potentially leave Inter mid-season just so Inter can recoup something before he leaves for free.
He's already said himself, it's true. I signed with PSG already. I'm waiting for the club's conclude agreement now.
Which is really interesting.
I will say one thing.
I actually respect it.
Regardless of if we change stance at the moment, and regardless of like the fact that the players who left were not players who were signed by Maldini and Massara, players who did leave, Donnarumma, Çalhanoğlu, Kessie, and Romagnoli, we should have got over 100 million euros for. The reason that that's important is because he mentions Inter and Napoli there. Inter and Napoli have lost key pieces. You know, Lukaku was sold. Achraf Hakimi was sold. Other players have left Inter. Napoli basically lost all of their core players, or what we thought were core players during the summer. But what that did is it gave them cash to be able to spend properly on the replacements. And it's like, I don't know anyone who's familiar with basketball, in theory, the idea that, you know, you lose your star player and actually you might get better in the aggregate. Yeah. Do I trust Maldini and Massara to spend 100 million euros that we might get for Leao properly? Don't know. Maybe. We seem to have hit a sweet spot with signings at around like 20 million. But there is an argument to be made that like any football club, especially one in Serie A, needs to be able to effectively operate player turnover. You know, we haven't received a decent fee for a player since Paqueta went for 20 mil, and even then we were accepting a 15 million
we lost money, didn't we?
Yeah, so like we need to get better at that aspect of things, and I think that's where Inter and Napoli are. Like Juve could potentially get 30 odd million for Weston McKennie. The fuck?
That's mad.
What are you doing? We can't even get rid of Bakayoko.
Okay, do not compare those two players.
Yeah. Weston McKennie is significantly better.
But
But
Bakayoko can leave on a free and he doesn't want to. Bakayoko has offers.
You're making $3 million a year living in Milan, Italy, not doing shit. Sounds wonderful. Or you can go to Turkey. Nothing against Turkey. But
he's a prick.
I'd rather live in
something
Italy.
against Turkey.
Bakayoko's a prick. We've got too many pricks. We're too loyal. We're too nice.
Too many people. Yeah, we should have ripped up his contract in front of him.
And you know what? I don't know why we haven't yet. Like, obviously, there's a penalty for that.
We're
But
too
at this
nice.
point, Chelsea wants him gone too. Chelsea should terminate his contract. We should terminate his contract and send him to fucking hell.
Yeah, what happens if Chelsea were to say we're actually going to terminate his deal? Which means that
I don't even think Todd knows. Todd has so much money. He doesn't even care. He's got so much. He's like, what, 8 million on Bakayoko?
Is he really that bad?
Todd Pioli. Who does he own? The Cubs. Is it the Cubs?
Oh, Todd Pioli? I thought it was the Dodgers. I don't know.
Oh, Dodgers. Right.
I thought it was, but I don't really know. I don't pay attention to fucking
shit.
Dude came in like, why can't we get an owner that does that?
Yeah,
you know what?
He's got more money than sense.
Because we're an Italian club.
It's Serie A. It's Serie A. That's all.
Serie A.
Hey, that Rafael Leao looks pretty good. Let's buy him. That's literally him.
He's an owner of the Dodgers.
He's not
Lakers,
a freaking Southern cowboy.
Is he not?
And DraftKings.
He lives in LA.
Yeah. All the
LA people don't have Southern accents, to be clear.
Yeah, they sound like ass.
Two people asked us, why does God punish us like this? As an atheist, I'm going to say that it's God's fault.
Hey, fellas, I got some great news because we're doing big business. Guess who's back in the news? We're loaning Roback to another really small club in Norway.
Who the fuck is that?
That might just be the clip to advertise the episode.
That was the guy from Zlatan's Swedish team that he swore we needed to sign. And he's
I'd just like to mention here that Fabrizio Romano is reporting that Everton have bid 45 million for Conor Gallagher. We cannot compete. We cannot compete. We really, the game's gone. The game is full.
Zaniolo, Zaniolo will probably go to Bournemouth as well. Like Roma, people were at his door, whatever. Like Roma fans threatening him. He's gone. Why the hell can we not get an Italian player? Like
I just want to go on record as saying that I think we signed Zaniolo on deadline day. It's not going to happen, but I just want, if it happens, I just want to be able to point to that moment and say,
all right, Ollie.
Told you.
Well, we're going to sound Daniele Osaro from Universidad Chile, so I don't give a fuck. He's going to be amazing.
You mean Dario Osario? What a player. His name rhymes. Get him in. Yeah, right. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I apologise.
Yeah.
It's been a
Daniele Dario. He won't play under Pioli.
I wish he had like a proper white guy name like Darren Osario joining from Chile. It's like Alexis McAllister.
I'm losing my brain.
Right. Thank you to everyone for following along to this point. Apologise that it's been a bit all over the place compared to our usual very structured episodes, but hope you enjoyed in a cathartic way our ranting and raving and all that stuff. Look, I really hope that we can come back next week with something positive to talk about. But in the meantime, we're all here with the collective suffering. So comment on YouTube and let us know in replies through whatever capacity what you think is going wrong with the team at the moment, what we need to fix. Perhaps if you have an idea to replace Pioli or something to be done in the summer transfer window, just let us know your ideas, because everyone seems to have their idea on how to fix things at the moment, and it's interesting to read them. I've been your host, Ollie Fisher. Follow me on Twitter at Ollie Fisher, AJ.
Yeah, and none of your ideas are wrong because they all will be better than what Pioli is going to do next week. So definitely share your ideas and use it as a job application to be Milan manager, because we need one. So don't
mention job application to Lorenzo. Scarred.
Honestly, we're me.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
But yeah,
way to just like shoot a man while he's down.
That came out so much harsher than I intended.
How did you intend that?
I actually meant it in like a nice way, to be like, he submitted so many of them recently. But
you're just digging a hole.
Anyways, Torgard45, follow me on Twitter. Okay, Madison.
Yeah, Edward__Toth. Lorenzo, it's great to have you here. Maybe stop submitting job applications so you can continue to hang out with us on Monday mornings.
Yeah, I've gone.
Thanks,
Cheers,
guys.
everyone.
Ollie's hung his head in shame. Yeah, I just want to echo what everyone said. Please get in the comments because each and every one of your opinions is going to be valid. It's just a shit show
Except
right
for
now.
your about me, they're all fucking wrong.
No, they're the particularly correct ones. But yeah, sorry if this has been a ramble on all of us, but I hope you guys enjoyed.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you in a week's time.
Eccolo Ante in area di rigore, Ante, Ibra, gol! Vediamo se è buono, ce lo dà buono.